can you feed your dog chicken? I mean, you can, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful, especially if you don't balance it correctly. We're testing. Shout out to my guy over there at the Foundation Feeding, or is that correct?
Foundation Raw.
There we go. The Foundation Raw. To me, it sounds like one of those, like it's like an oxymoron. Why is this word not next to this word? So it's just in my head. But what I do love is the website. I Feed Raw. You go, wow. Probably should have leaned into that one. Instagram wise, I got asked a question, and it's one of those questions I repeat. Some people say this, and when I say it, I do mean it, people. I've been asked what to feed a dog 1,000 times. And to prove it, I'm screenshotting every message I get this year asking, can I feed my dogs this? What about this? Any feeding question at the start of the conversation, I'm screenshotting, I'm going to save it. I'm going to show you at the end of this year how many times I got asked that question. Which means there's a big opportunity here, to say the least. So let me just do a light breakdown for you guys. If you have a sedentary dog, well, let me make this make sense. Protein, 1 gram. Make sure I have this over here. 1 gram equals 4 calories. 1 gram equals 4 calories. 1 gram equals 9 calories. So 1 gram of carb, 4 calories. 1 gram of fat, 9 calories. All calories are energy, people. Now, how much energy does your dog need? Well, for us, some of you are coffee heads. And you say, man, I need my caffeine to do what? Get through the day or get yourself going, right? What is caffeine? It's a carbohydrate, objectively, and it's a diuretic. So it flushes you, wakes you up a little bit, and it's the only drug that's actually really legal that you could drink. Neither here nor, well, I guess alcohol is legal too, depending on what age you are. But when we look at energy and energy requirements, or requirements as some would say, we say, hey, what does my dog need? Is chicken the right answer? Well, not if your dog has an allergy. It's not. It's not something, we're not feeding the dogs chicken bones because it's cool. We're feeding it because it actually adds value to their quality of life long term. And it is imperative that we help support their joint growth, their function in terms of ability to move. When the dog, for one, doesn't have enough fat, it goes into glucogenesis, which is the breaking down of protein to provide energy to get through the day. The dog has no carb requirements. And again, I brought this out many times, and I love to go back to its reference, and I actually have the book. But AFCO says, dogs have no requirement for plant carbohydrates. So when you look at your dog food, you're saying, what is a plant? Well, look at your dog food. Is there rice? Is it potatoes? Are there lentils? Those are all, do they not come from plants? And correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to light me up in the comments. But if those things come from what? Plants. It's been proven beyond a reasonable doubt they have no plant requirements in terms of need for carbohydrates, then they really never need this. And so then you say, hey, what is my dog doing? Well, think of it this way. You've got energy output, right? So when we look at energy and we think organ function, right? So when your organ, liver, kidneys, aren't these the things that normally begin to shut down? These two things shut down because they've been doing what? Processing plants, and they never got a break. On the other side is if a dog often has pancreatitis or other issues with organ functions, they will tell you to feed it meat, because meat does what? Supports organ function. You know that the average human body is made up of about 10,000 plus formulated proteins, and there are 7 distinct proteins in the body. One of the most important ones being structural, and even an antibody is structural. What are enzymes? They help break down food, but they're catalysts to these things that take place to keep us going. When the dog's energy output is rooted in this, these things fail. When the dog's energy output is rooted in this, it actually takes less energy to process and store these two things because that's its source of energy, and 3 times as much to break this down and utilize it. And I'm saying all this to say, because when we come back and say, hey, can I feed my dog chicken? First question is, what does your dog do? Why? Is chicken, raw chicken, a healthy option? Yeah, I could tell you that. But I also can't make suggestions. Someone literally just asked, hey, I'm having a litter next week. what are some things you suggest I get for the pup? She'd go, what is this? what is this, man? What are we doing here? What do you mean? I'm just going to throw random stuff out there like, oh, do this. I have no clue what your program's based upon. And let me be very clear. Jamarcus is back here holding the camera. People have reached out and said, hey, do you guys sell the things you build? No, we don't. And realistically, we're trying to find new things to build regularly so we can keep enhancing the dog's intellect, curiosity, wonder, and all this other stuff. We have different expectations in having a litter of dogs and basically trying to sell them. I want to make sure that each breeding, each dog gets smarter, better, wiser, etc. Okay? So, couple questions that I get that we want to make sure we keep answering, but don't have to keep answering, even though we're going to have to answer it some more. What do I feed my dog? Do you see, this is me, this is so basic to me. I haven't even got complex. But that's what I sit at that table and do, is I read and learn all these things so I can continue to apply a bunch of this real life information. There's no reading thing here. I'm not reading off nothing, people. This is purely my brain. So, what do you feed your dog? Enhance dog food by simply adding an egg. Throw some greens in there every now and then, and most importantly, try to remove as many carbohydrates as possible. What do you do for your puppy if your puppies are just coming to life? I couldn't tell you, but I will suggest this. If you guys would be interested in being a part of some mentorship program, I'll be very clear and tell you, you can pay. And I might create a membership process, because now we're talking about real solutions. So what's that solution worth? Well, if you bought your dog for $5,000, how much would you pay to have access to someone you trust that can help grow your program, but even more importantly, support your dog's overall well-being? That'll cost you a lot, because my time and energy is focused on much bigger things. And I have no interest in supporting or feeding into the breeding world. And we're going to answer and talk more about that in the next video. So for now, what do you feed your dog? Do your best. Literally. That's what I've said many times. I ain't forcing raw food on nobody. What do you do for your pups? Do your best. Because I don't know what your goals or intent is. If you need access to mentorship or some type of structure in terms of leadership, then what would you pay for that? Now, I know what my time is worth. And it ain't going to cost you at least to have access, a bill and some change. But just to have access to someone's brain, all the information, studying, and in some cases, discount on medications, you go, well, yeah, we got to start at $500 because you paid that and you're going to be on my line all the time. But guys, a lot of good free information out there. You don't need me. Take care of your dogs. I'm a fucking nobody.